Welcome, my friends, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, friends of Japanese prints. I'm Dieter Manschura, and I'm the owner and manager of the Artelino company. My little company is located in Bavaria, and we sell Japanese prints in weekly online auctions. In today's video, I want to present the highlights, 5 highlights from the current auction. And they have all one thing in common: they are all woodblock prints. Well, the first woodblock print I want to present is by Toyokuni Utagawa. And this print is old, very old. Toyokuni Utagawa was born in 1769 and he died in 1825. And he was the master of the so-called Utagawa school. What's that? Utagawa school, not really a school. Imagine it as a printmaking shop where they produced single prints like this one, mainly focused about the Japanese kabuki theater, but also complete books, because books, called ihon in Japanese, they were produced with the same woodblock printmaking technique as single prints. And this print shows a yamabushi. Oh, again, a strange word. What's a yamabushi? In old Japan, a yamabushi was a wandering and sometimes rather pugnacious Buddhist monk. If you're a little bit familiar with the history of Japan, or you're an experienced collector of Japanese prints, you may have heard the name of Benkei. Benkei, the faithful comrade of Yoshitsune. Well, 2 names, Benkei and Yoshitsune. Every Japanese school children knows these names. And Benkei was a yamabushi. And you recognize the yamabushi on all these Japanese prints by a little cap, a little black cap, one on the head of these guys. Here a little bit difficult to recognize because the cap is always black, but here also the hair is black, so unfortunate. Print number 2 is by Yoshitoshi Taiso, also called Yoshitoshi Tsukioka. And he was the great master of the Meiji period. So roughly of the time of the second half of the 19th century, to be a little bit more precise. Meiji period began in 1868 and ended in 1912. And Yoshitoshi, he died in 1892, and towards the end of his life, he made a series of 36 ghosts. The title of the series, New Forms of 36 Ghosts. Well, you must know, Japanese people, they love ghost stories, yeah. And, well, this design shows a samurai, the hero, and he chases away the ghost, the smallpox ghost. So, if Yoshitoshi still lived today, I'm sure he would make a new design of a hero chasing away the COVID ghost. The next 2 prints are by Osamu Sogiyama, one of my favorite contemporary artists. Osamu Sogiyama was born in 1946, and he's a pupil, a student of the famous Shinanga artist Toshi Yoshida. And like Toshi Yoshida, who was an avid mountaineer, also Osamu Sogiyama has this passion. He likes to go into the mountains, and he shows us, well, his own impressions, the images that he takes during his hiking tours. And in the current auction, we have 2 prints by him, which are very different. Well, first we have this cold blue mountain landscapes from the Japanese mountains. Here, hikers still on valley level in the winter, and the other one, quite the opposite, dominant green. Here, rice pads, also a view from the Japanese mountains. And here, take a look at this misty background and how extremely well it is made with this slow gradation. Well, if you ever made a hiking tour in the mountains, you must have experienced such an impression. You're somewhere on a higher level and you look down on a sea of mist. By the way, all limited editions and all woodblock prints, and as I said before, Osamu Sogiyama is a real mokuhanga artist. Mokuhanga, just another word for woodblock prints, and it has become a kind of an international art movement. And Osamu Sogiyama, he's one of the best, believe me. Also, the next print is by a contemporary artist. His name is Daniel Kelly, born 1946. And Daniel Kelly is a very renowned, very established international artist, a painter and a printmaker. And his artworks are in such museums like the Metropolitan Museum in New York or the British Museum in London. I think I don't have to say more to convince you that this is really a top artist, and we are very glad that we are in a position that we can offer you every now and then an artwork on paper by Daniel Kelly. And this is a woodblock print. At first sight, it doesn't look like it. Well, even at the beginning I thought, hey, this is some kind of mixed media. But then Daniel Kelly told me, hey, Dieter, no. And it is really a woodblock print. Daniel Kelly calls this his innovative woodblock technique. And not only the printing is a little bit different from the classical ukiyo-e, but he also uses a very different paper. He imports the paper from such countries like Nepal or Bhutan or the Philippines or Indonesia. And you must imagine this nearly like a stiff cardboard. And usually the prints are rather large. Also this one, you must imagine it something like this. The title is What's Up? And it's from a period when Daniel liked to make subjects of fish. Also, the last print that I want to present is by a contemporary artist born shortly after World War II. This one is by Tsuruya Koke, born 1946, and is also a woodblock print. Tsuruya Koke is sometimes called the modern Sharaku. Well, who was Sharaku? Sharaku was an enigmatic print artist, ukiyo-e artist from around 200 years ago, and he's very famous. And Surya Koke specialized in the same genre, making portraits of kabuki actors, portraits in a nearly caricature like manner. Surya Koke was already 32 years old when he made his first woodblock print. And at the beginning he was not successful at all, in a commercial way. Nobody wanted to buy his prints. That changed when one day Surya Koke met the director of the old traditional kabuki-za, the old kabuki theater in Tokyo. And that director proposed him, hey, let's try to sell your prints in our theater. And so from one day to another you could buy Surya Koke's print at the box office of the kabuki-za. And that worked. More and more people bought Tsuruya Koke's prints, and we could even establish a kind of a subscription scheme. And today, Surya Koke's prints are in good demand and not quite cheap. The printing making technique is very different from the one practiced by Daniel Kelly, and especially the paper. While Daniel prints on a nearly cardboard thick paper, Surya Koke uses a very, very thin paper called ganpi in Japanese. But don't worry about shipping this print. By default, Surya Koke sells his prints in a protective glassine folder. Well, my friends of Japanese prints, we've reached the end of this video, but not the end of the artelino auctions. These 5 wood blueprints, they are offered in the current auction. It's the number 1689. By the way, a consecutive number since we first started in December of 2001 with these online auctions of Japanese prints on the internet. And today is July 17th, and this auction will end tomorrow, July 18th, Sunday at 8 p.m. Central European Time. We are located in Bavaria in Germany, and we are nearly always 6 hours ahead of US East Coast. Always remember that if you want to bid in our auctions. Well, thanks for watching and have a good time.